Plenty of Welsh accents within this large crowd. The weather hasn't diminished the curiosity or enthusiasm for this game in South Wales. First penalty for an illegal tackle goes to Widnes, and Jonathan Davies is immediately in the action. Not one of his best, although his kicking really was a feature of his contribution to the Lions tour. He had a 70% success record with his place kicking. Mosi Koloto. This is Paul Hugh, who was a little doubtful for this match because of a hamstring injury. Strikes me that Widnes have taken a risk with one or two of their injured players, whereas Wigan have not. Whether that will be a key factor in 79 minutes' time, we shall see. Davies kicking. And interesting that we have one amendment to the rules this season. The fullback or any receiver of field kicks will be given 10 metres of grace instead of 5. Offside players in front of the kicker must not go within 10 of an opponent waiting for the ball. And they're only played onside when he moves 10 metres with it, or if he touches the ball first and fails to retain it. It's a rule change that could make the Tates and the Hampsons even more exciting prospects this season. It's a nice little induction present for John Gallagher, Brian Smith.
Yeah, indeed, but as you say, I think every rugby league fullback and winger will be enjoying that rule. It was one that needed to be attended to, and I congratulate those who are responsible for it.
Here's Kelvin Skerritt. He's really been trimmed down by the Australian fitness coordinator who John Mooney has brought in during the close season, Bob Lanigan. Skerritt's basically the same weight, something like 16 stone 7, but there's not half an inch of fat on him anymore. Here's Dennis Betts, wearing the number 13 shirt today, unusual for him. Young Russ Bridge is the dummy half, Bobby Goulding. Jet Bird. Mark Preston couldn't gather. Touch judge quickly in. A little unhappy with Andy Currier's attempts to win the ball back, I fancy.
Fairly sloppy play there by Wigan. They set it up well to sweep back here on the left-hand side, but all seemed to overrun Goulding's pass.
Currier's had a pretty unhappy summer. He's been back out to Balmain in Australia, where he was such a success last year, but he's been dogged by a back injury and has managed only 5 games in the first grade. Now, our first chance to assess the goal-kicking ability of Frano Botica. As you were saying before the game, Brian, this could be a key addition for Wigan if he can find a place in their first-choice lineup.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy. I mean, it's going to be even more difficult than previous seasons for players to command a first-team spot, and John Mooney's flushed with talent. Part of his job, of course, is to sort that out.
Ironic to see Sean Edwards bringing the sound on.
Yeah, I guess so, but that's the way it is at Wigan nowadays.
I think we'll be seeing him without the tracksuit before the afternoon's out. Instant success for Frano Botica. Wigan lead by 2 points to 0. Kicked 5 goals on his debut in a friendly match against Warrington last week, and maybe more significantly ran in a couple of tries too.
And that penalty is the result of what was Widnes' major problem last season, some discipline. Penalty there when they really should have gained possession from a loose ball.
Say quite a healthy crowd inside the Vetch field, but the news of the better half of the Widnes team, the Widnes wives, they're stuck on the motorway somewhere on the M6, and it's doubtful whether they're going to get here for the end of the match. Dennis Betts is here, all right. Gildart taking it on. One of the real face workers of the modern game, hard-working.
Wigan using the same method of escape from their 22.
Goulding to Skerritt. Good tackle low down by Mosi Koloto. A little help from his friends, Davis and Hume. Quick hands by Botica. Wasn't meant for him. He's been forced into touch, though. And I quickly learned that the penalties for being forced into touch are rather graver in rugby league than they are in rugby union.
I bet someone gives him a message about that very quickly. That you can't just put yourself out over the touchline like you can in rugby union and expect people to say thanks.
Widnes ball at the scrum. And a penalty, and again the referees are under direction from Fred Lindop to try and clean up the scrums. He's restated some of the scrimmaging principles in a directive to officials during the summer. He's particularly keen to stamp out blatant feeding into the back row of the scrum. The ball must be fed into the tunnel to strike the hooker's feet. Joe Grimmer. A lot of last season's hookers seem to be binding down at loose forward. Here is the loose forward, Les Holiday. Mackenzie trying to set something up for Loto.
Great tackle by Betts, pinned the ball and stopped the big man as well.
Holiday, great footballing, loose forward. Little kick meant for a fire who popped over from the left wing, but even he couldn't catch that. Dead ball areas aren't the deepest I've seen.
No, particularly with this grass being so greasy and wet this afternoon, they'll really have to keep it very tight. Their kicks have to be very precise.
Botica hasn't found touch. As the outcome of the last two Charity Shields, played on the Isle of Man in '88 and at Anfield in '89. Another change of venue, and they're talking about Gateshead up in the northeast for next year. Chris Ashurst will be a new figure to many, the Widnes number 8. Here's the other prop forward, a rather more familiar Joe Grimmer. David Hume to Les Holiday. To Loto, peering wide. Just what a centre wants to see. Went forward, Alan Tate gathered it quickly. Scrummed out. Good to see Alan Tate fit again. Doug Lawton will be happier about that than anybody. Viv Gleave, the young lady there on his left, is responsible for getting Tate back in action after his injury problems during the summer. She's the Widnes physiotherapist.
Widnes really need to tighten their marker play here to keep Wigan penned in their own half.
Sean Wayne, another man who's had his injury problems in the last couple of years, looking to try and pin down a place in that front row. Botica. Little late reminder from David Hume. Well gathered though by John Devereux. Lost the ball.
Terrible mistake.
Andy Platt. Ian Gildart. Here comes Sean Wayne. Had a terrific game against Widnes in the Regal Trophy tie back last January. Man of the match in that match at Central Park. Here's Botica. Platt. Fifth tackle. This is the view that the Widnes defence have of it. Goulding, little kick into the corner. It was clever. O'Fire got a hand on it. And it was just enough to deny David Myers.
Well, Mr. Morris has refereed the Wigan player in front of the kicker and has awarded a penalty 5 metres out opposite the indiscretion.
That'll be quite a clash on that wing, because David Myers there is Martin O'Fire's best friend in rugby league. They train together, work out together in the gym, and in direct confrontation this afternoon. Joe Grimmer in direct confrontation with half the Wigan pack. Here's Goulding's kick. Can we see where Myers was? No.
Good decision, I think.
Holiday, that left-footing kicking game will be a feature of the day. John Gilfillan filling in for the injured Steve Hampson at fullback. Preston trying to steal 5 yards. Ten minutes played. Wigan in possession and leading by 2 points to 0. Calvin Skerritt, well held by Phil McKenzie. Burn to Botica. Charged down cleverly by Tony Myler, and here goes Jonathan Davis. He used to be a useful soccer player. Denied by Gilfillan. Scored a try and 5 goals at Anfield in last year's Charity Shield. He's come of age since then.
Saw an instance there of the name of the game for Widnes. You see Wigan on attack here. And even with quite a smart little kick by Botica, once the ball goes to ground and the play changes ends, look out. Here you go, Widnes. And Gilfillan does very well to get across here and showed a lot of courage to get down on the ball and did enough to spoil it. Deserves a big rap for that, Gilfillan. Saved a try there.
Wasn't far away from being penalised, actually. I'm not quite sure he got on the ball, but here's Dean Bell. With support from David Myers outside of him. Terrific tackle by Alan Tate. Gilfillan again. Well collected by Betts. Ball to ground again.
Great example of rugby league action there. There's Gilfillan, saves a try at one end, and then within the space of 10 seconds is backing up a forward, making a good break.
Wade, good ball off. Bobby Goulding, terrific tackle again by Tate. It was needed, 5th of the drive. Tate didn't allow Goulding to get to his feet. Oh, I tell a lie, it was Goulding who didn't get to his feet quickly enough.
Mr. Morris is suggesting that a little bit of overacting, perhaps Bobby Goulding trying to milk a penalty there. Not sure if I agree with him.
As John Gilfillan, who played an hour at Anfield as a substitute for Dean Bell last year, so he's not new to the Charity Shield.
Big, strong boy.
Here's another, Chris Ashurst. Referred to Kurt Sorensen in the front row today. Tony Myler. Andy Currick. Now he's broken Jed Burns' tackle. John Devereaux. McKenzie. David Hugh. Looking to go a lot deeper that time. Well, let's hear our first assessment of the early statistics from Phil Larder. Congratulations on the down under tour, Phil.
Thanks, Clive. Early on, Wigan have had a lot of possession and Widnes have really had to defend well. At the moment, they're withstanding the pressure, but I've got a feeling that Wigan could be in for a try soon.
Two points to 0, Wigan lead. Frano Botica, who kicked those points, in possession. Ian Gildart.
The yards are just too easy. Wigan are going forward on almost every play.
Andy Platt. Interesting that he was voted Player of the Year by the Wigan supporters in a year when Sean Edwards and Andy Goodway picked up the biggest individual honours that the game has to offer, the First Division Player of the Year and the Man of Steel. Jonathan Davis regaining possession for Widnes.
That's the part of Kelvin Skerritt's game that John Mooney will be keen to work on. Wigan are a non-error team. They're very mistake-free. Skerritt's busting runs are fine, but he's got to come up and play the ball at the end of them.
It's a day when you've just got to hang on that little bit more than you would normally. The ball is obviously very wet. And the tackling will force errors. Here's Andy Platt again. Russ Bridge. Dennis Betts. Loto blocking out the light. Botica. Tony Myler for Widnes. Bets quickly upon him. Alan Tate. We've had 15 minutes to play, and that solitary penalty by Frano Botica, the Wigan standoff half, separating the two teams. Holiday. Goulding's there. One split second, I think he was wishing he wasn't.
Great catch there. He might have had visions of Gary Freeman attacking there, I think.
Yes, he had a right old scrap with the New Zealand scrum half Gary Freeman during that test series, and Goulding occupied Freeman sufficiently for Gary Schofield outside him to become the man of the series. Here he is again. Phil Larder was very, very happy with his contribution as a team member, Goulding, during those 3 tests against New Zealand. Rustbridge, the trialist from Fulham, who Wigan may sign next week. Here's Goulding again. Ooh, and Betts was within a whisker collecting that. Right start by Wigan, but Widnes are the best counter-attacking team in the game, and sometimes they're at their most dangerous when they've been sucked into defence. And here's the illustration. O'Farr and Tate breaking out. John Devereux. Now, good pace, good defence again by Gil Fulham. Courier, nice change. Now can he get away from Byrne? Just smothered him into touch. Good quick thinking by Andy Courier. Under the pitch a bit of foot wide, he'd have got there.
You summed it up really well, Clive, and that's the way the game's been so far. Wigan going forward, controlling the ball, Widnes hanging on by the skin of their teeth. But here's the counter-attack. Courier sensing the markers just a little bit over-anxious to push open side, and doesn't Byrne pull the big ones out, and he needed to pull them out. Anyone know where there's a filling station?
So Wigan survive, and Frano Botica clears his lines again. Skerritt. Loto's done a good tackling stint already. Sean Wayne. Andy Platt.
Tactically very poor here, Widnes, because Wigan are just coming at them short off to play the balls, and yet for most of the game so far they're carrying one marker. They need 2 markers who are working very vigorously to stop that yardage.
I don't think Rustbridge actually knocked the ball forward there. He'd rather lost his concentration for a second, and Widnes had possession back as a result with Tony Myler. He stands up in the tackle as well as anybody I've seen in the last 5-10 years in this game, Myler. So brave.
So skillful as well.
Chris Ashurst. O'Fire. Myler on the burst.
Another great tackle from Andy Platt.
Made more tackles in the Wembley Cup final, Andy Platt, than any other player, which is astonishing, really, when you think how much of the game Wigan had. Made even more than Mike Gregory, who had an heroic game as captain. Platt totalled 35 on the day at Wembley. First substitution, and Paul Hume's hamstring, I think, has given up, and Kurt Sorensen is on.
I think it'll be very sad if we go back to those second row feeds. Paul Hume spent a few second rows in his time, I guess, but Mr. Morris here giving a very graphic description of the way he thought the ball was fed. And we start to get into that interpretive area again, where the fans become very frustrated when they see one feed penalised and then the next one let go.
Just finding a balance between having correct scrums and scrums which don't take all day to take place. Here's Kurt Sorensen.
There is a third alternative, of course.
To do without them altogether, yes, but that's another story. And here's Tony Myler. David Hume. Chris Ashurst couldn't hang on. So we've had almost a quarter of the match. Wigan leading by 2 points to 0, and in possession with Gerard Byrne, whose try-saving tackle on Eddie Carrier kept it that way 3 or 4 minutes ago. Man mountain, Kelvin Skerritt. I'm almost certain that, despite the strapping there, that it's... Well, it just appears that Paul Hume has a hand injury. He was very doubtful with a hamstring prior to the game, but he's obviously damaged his right wrist. Hume was actually topping the tackle count before his departure. I think we can take a check on that now with Phil Larder.
Yes, an indication of the work that you have to do in rugby league. 20 minutes gone and we've got players who've already made over 10 tackles, with Holiday and Hume, Paul Hume that is, leading the table from Widnes.
Interesting to note there that every player on the screen was a forward, indication that of what we've been saying here, that Wigan in particular are carrying the ball very tight, close to the rucks, requiring a big effort from the Widnes forwards. Maybe not quite up to it as yet, but Wigan have got to make it count with some points.
That youngster Edwards bringing the sand on for Botica again. Strangely enough, it was the prolific goal-kicking of Grant Fox which rather held back Botica's all-black ambitions. If he can prove himself a successful goal-kicker in the professional code, there may just be a place for him in the Wigan 13 each week, even when Gregory and Edwards are back. He's not quite dragged that one round enough, but his first penalty still separates the teams. Wigan will make a substitution, and it's their usual substitution. Ian Gildart, having done his early tackling stint, has been replaced by young Michael Forshaw, just 20 years of age, a young man who played alongside Gildart and Dennis Betts in the England schoolboy team. Wigan born and bred. Here is Dennis Betts. He had a great tour.
That's some handoff, that. David Hume flat on his back.
Skerritt. Dean Bell looked to touch forward. Dessay and Gildart will be back before the afternoon's out. Back in the hands of Widnes via a mistake by Sean Wayne. We're live at the Vetch Field, Swansea, South Wales, for the CIS Insurance Charity Shield, with Wigan in the cherry and white hoops leading Widnes by 2 points to 0. We've had 23 minutes of play. Still sweeping rain in this part of the world, but I don't think there's much chance of the referee offering these lads the light.
See a great difference here in the tackling performance. Wigan keeping Widnes well within their own quarter, well within their own half, and forcing them to kick out. And now Wigan back on attack, almost on the halfway line.
Here's Forshaw.
Much better marker play from Widnes there. Mackenzie doing a good job, along with Sorensen.
Betts. Tackled very correctly low down by Chris Ashurst. Breakdown in communications between Forshaw and Bridge. Byrne trying to rescue the situation. Ball went forward, scrum down. Russ Bridge, the Wigan hooker, there's Jed Byrne, the very dependable centre. But Russ Bridge there with the red headband is playing for his Wigan future. Been recommended to John Money by Ross Strudwick, the Australian coach down at Fulham. It hasn't been signed yet. No sign of the Widnes wives yet. Plenty of red jerseys. Maybe Wigan, more likely Welsh. Kurt Sorensen.
See on the fringe of this shot here just how tightly the Wigan defence is pushed in. Maybe copying Widnes style defence from last year. Stay very tight and then play a sort of inside-out sliding defence, trying to chase a fire across, which is maybe flirting with danger.
Widnes paid a club record £110,000 for Les Holliday towards the end of last season. He's going to give them an extra dimension this year. The ball playing loose forward in the Mick Adams mould. Well, we're not going to have to worry about feeding the scrum if the two front rows can't bind down properly. Rusbridge, the hook, is getting the talking to. Bound to be more anxious virtually than anybody else on the field. He's sitting his exams today. So good position from Davis's right boot. David Hume. Kurt Sorensen taking the second ball.
Great tackle by Bridge underneath there.
David Hume. Chris Ashurst. Coloto. Widnes tend to make the most of their visits to the opposing 25. Mackenzie. Devereaux's there. Well held by the young substitute Forshaw. David Hume. Les Holliday. Tony Myler. Man over it, they keep it moving. Jonathan Davis. O'Fire outside him. Davis doesn't need him. Welcome home, Jonathan. He's writing this story for himself. He's only been in the game 5 minutes. He's now a Great Britain Test player. He'll always be a hero in these parts, and that's why that try means so much to him.
We'll see the Wigan defence, that sliding defence is caught out. Look at all the Wigan players having to go from left to right on the screen, always short on numbers. Very cool Tony Myler picks the right player to pass to, and Davis is just too quick. The winger Myers is caught in a 2-on-1. Bodiger can't get to him in time. The thing to look for here now is the Wigan players all sliding from right to left across the screen. Look at them all looking outside. Widnes have got the players on the outside. Can they get the ball there? Myler picks the right man. Bodiger probably could have done a little better there. He finished up with fresh air, but Davies took full advantage.
Dean Bell actually got drawn out of position a little bit there, didn't he? He had Alan Tate in the corner of his eye, and he went to nail Tate, and Myler just timed the pass beautifully. And Davies had the luxury of Martin O'Fire outside of him. Just drifted wide. Very important for Jonathan Davis to find a position in the Widnes team this season. He's been tried at 6, he's been tried in the centre, he's been tried at full-back, tried on the wing. I think Doug Lawton is now going to give him an extended run alongside either Currier or Wright. The one at the bottom is the number that matters most. It's given Widnes a 4-2 lead. We've got just over 10 minutes of the first half remaining. (4-2).
So after all that possession, Wigan are behind. They haven't made it count.
Currier trying to make a break. And if the proudest man inside the bench field is Jonathan Davis, I dare say the second proudest is Doug Lawton, his coach. Looking good for you, Doug.
Yeah, I'm not so happy with the way we're defending, Clive, but we are, when we move the ball, we look a bit magic at times, and I think we're coming more into the game now as it goes on, so I'm getting a bit hopeful.
It's a nice scrum cap you've got on. So Widnes and Doug Lawton lead by 4 points to 2. Jonathan Davis, the man with the ball in his hands, with the key try. Grimmer. Ashurst. Had to miss his sister's wedding yesterday, Chris Ashurst, in order to travel down with the Widnes squad. He's been penalised. Interesting that David Hume and Tony Myler came over to young Ashurst straight away, A, to console him, and B, just to point out that we can't afford to give away silly penalties of that nature. Sean Wade. Ashurst making the tackle low down. Forshaw. Betts breaking one tackle. Goulding. Skerritt. He's really benefited from the conditioning work that Bob Lanigan has been doing with the Wigan boys during the off-season. Ottica. That's a test of Brallon Tate. Well, there's nobody better in the game at these. Oops, what have I said? Les Holiday, the right place at the right time. There is a breeze swirling around inside the stadium. It's not a strong one. Basically at Wigan's backs. Penalty to Widnes. We're into the last 8 minutes of the first half. And Widnes leading by 4 points to 2, courtesy of Jonathan Davis's try. Ashurst. McKenzie. Kurt Sorensen. Nothing sinister about him being on the substitutes bench. He's going to concentrate on coaching this year. Kurt Sorensen is off to Australia next month for a couple of weeks to take a coaching course. Myler. Holiday. Well, the test for Gil Thurn is allowed it to bounce, which can be dangerous. Now, did he get 10 metres grace there from David Hume?
He was always onside, Clive. I feel you'll see a lot more of kicking from acting half and from kicking very close to the acting half, or very close to the advantage line this season, so that players aren't offside. I think you'll see less of players kicking from out the back door, as it were, where the ball's thrown back to the fullback, because that'll place everyone offside. And I feel that David Hume was onside there and chased the ball very aggressively.
O'Fire was penalised. Goulding. Forshaw. Goulding was looking where it was going before he had it. Les Holiday. Westbridge tackling back. Myler. Alan Tate. Good defence again, Dennis Betts. Holiday. O'Fire. Checked after he kicked it there, but it might bounce kindly Jonathan Davis was coaching again. Last 5 minutes of the first half. Although Wigan may have shaded it in terms of possession, Widnes have had the better opportunities and lead by 4 points to 2. John Mody sitting in the stands, and alongside him, nearest to us, Harry Pinner, who's been brought in by Wigan this summer and is seen by many as a natural successor to John Mody. What a defending for Wigan to do. Myler, well saved by Currier. John Devereux, it's a Welsh one too. The Sons of the Valleys are taking over. A try for Davids, and now a try for Devereux. And Andy Currier ran under the ball beautifully there to make that try for his winger.
All credit here to Devereux because he does finish it well, but look at the ball again. It's Myler who lays the great ball on, and Courier does well to unload, but it's that inside-out defence again of brought undone. Myler picks the right player to pass to. It exposes that weakness on the outside. Forshaw chases for all he's worth, but they're just too quick.
Playing for Bridgend this time last year. Wasn't until October that he made that £100,000 move and switch of codes. Another man who's already graduated as a Lions tourist. Well, they're passing out with honours today. Try by Bridgend. Conversion attempt by Llanelli. He can kick. My word, he can kick. And Widnes stretch their lead to 8 points. What about that, Boyo?
Well, it's as we said, Wigan have had all the early possession but didn't make it count, and the masters of making it count have done it again.
And done it in a Welsh accent. Amosi Koloto. He's quite small for a Tongan.
Says who? You get down there and face him.
The Bala Open Age tourists were down in the South Seas during the summer, and I was talking to one of their representatives last week, and he assures me that Koloto is medium-sized as that race go. Well, we're into the last 2 minutes of the first half, and we wouldn't have dreamed about scripting it this way. A try for Davis and a try for Devereux. And Wigan need to sign some Welshmen quickly. Bell. Maybe an All Black can do it for them. Botica. Currier special. Forshaw. We did well to unload that. Botica couldn't hang on. Kurt Sorensen. Mackenzie. Holiday. Wigan starting to look a little bit ragged. We think the half-time whistle can't come soon enough for them at the moment. Widnes a streak team in many ways. They're the sort of side that score 3 or 4 tries in 10 or 15 minutes. When they get you on the run, they show no mercy. As Brian will testify from a Premiership final a couple of years ago.
You say the most cruel things, Clive.
Well, it's not Holwell they've got to face them today, it's Wigan, and they've got to face a 10-2 deficit at half-time. But perhaps most important of all, on a day when Rugby League brought its showcase teams to South Wales, it was two of his Principality's favourite sons, Jonathan Davis and John Devereux, who scored the tries which have given Widnes that advantage. Davis also adding a conversion, and just to complete the rugby union theme, a penalty by All Black Frano Botica.
Welcome back. Widnes leading Wigan by 10-2 in the CIS Insurance Charity Shield here at the Vetch Field. The Welsh are having a field day. We can go into the Widnes dressing room now to have a look. It was very tight in that first half, but they're looking good again now. They had the best of the chances. 2 tries from the 2 Welshmen returning home, Jonathan Davis and John Devereux. Can you believe it? We can have another look now with Brian Smith.
We've seen some two great tries on the inside out here, with players really working hard to get the ball outside. The Widnes players are using this inside-out style defence that Wigan are using today. And Myler is the magician, the one who's found the right pass. Under pressure, he's found the right player. You can see Wigan trying as hard as they can to push out, but Davies is too strong, pushes through to score the try. The second try is scored on the right-hand side of the field. Here's the longer passes early on that try we saw from Acton half. The fullest of passes to really milk the width so that they could get that ball into the far corner. The second try was a similar type of try with a Myler again being the technician, the craftsman. It's the Welshman that Clive's been talking about today that have got all the glory. But look at Myler here picking up these players here from Wigan all together, and Wigan, Myler exposes that with the long ball. You can see in the bottom of frame here. Here is Courier, who comes hard and straight to take advantage of the long pass. And look at him really hit through that tackle. Too strong for Preston, and Devereux pushes hard and knows how to score a try. He's done that here before, I think. Lovely, good, crisp hands. There's Myler looking at it from ground level. Look at that pass, right on the button. A lovely ball.
And I just wonder, Wigan were looking a bit ragged, I thought, towards the end of that first half.
Inside-out defence has been found out, and the best exponents of the wide play are Widnes. Wigan have got to do a lot more practice. It's early days yet, and I guess they'll want that trophy, but today's a good day to find out how to improve on that sliding defence.
Brian, thanks very much. Phil Lard has been looking at the statistics of that first half. He begins with a look at work rate.
Yes, as one would expect with two teams of the calibre of Widnes and Wigan, their work rate shown here as a combination of tackles and drives is particularly high. Wigan with 191 and Widnes 182. Time in possession, Wigan had the lion's share of possession in the first 20 minutes, but Widnes defence held tight. In the second quarter, Widnes controlled the ball better, and as Brian has just pointed out, Wigan's new compact defensive formation was found wanting on both occasions. Top tacklers, with the Australians coming in October, I'm very pleased to see that Andy Platt, who had such a serious knee injury last season, is up there, and Dennis Betts is maintaining his form that he showed on tour.
Welcome back to South Wales, where the Widnes Taffs, Jonathan Davis and John Devereux, have given them a 10-2 interval advantage in their CIS Insurance Charity Shield match. And Wigan without the services of Sean Wayne at the start of this second half. Ian Gildart has returned. Wayne has pulled a muscle at the base of his back. And Sean Edwards is out there too. And I think Frano Botica has gone off. So Edwards is out in the middle. I remember him coming on as a substitute for Great Britain in not dissimilar circumstances early last season. And making quite an impact, as he usually does. 5 tackles in this first Wigan drive. Bobby Goulding to kick. Martin O'Fire. Ooh, and that was late. And that was Kelvin Skerritt. And they were tourists together. Best of mates. Who needs enemies with friends like that? David Hume sees the funny side.
It was a senseless penalty as well because the ball went straight down Gil Fillan's throat. O'Fire turns here and he's under pressure from a good chase by Wigan. There was no damage done.
The penalty given where the ball landed, so Widnes are on the attack with Kurt Sorensen. There's big Kelvin. David Hugh. Good break. Davis outside him. The fire loitering with intent. Holiday.
It's called a Ward 10 ball.
Holiday, that's a better one. Haloto. Look at the fire now. Reacting immediately and trying to sniff out a try for himself, and in doing so making an unnecessary mistake. You live with Martin O'Fire's unorthodoxy when he provides so much for you. Very rare that we see him and Mark Preston in direct confrontation. Ball went forward.
Very tough call, I thought there. The ball was ripped out by a Widnes player. It could have even been 6 to go, not only a knock on. Not only not a knock on, I should say.
Let's see where this one goes in. Ooh, front row.
You see what I mean? What's the point?
Myler. Tony Myler is holding the Widnes captaincy for the first time in his 12 years at Norton Park. And it could prove to be an inspired appointment if he can steer clear of injury in the coming months. He's still got so much to offer. Here's his new opposite number, Sean Edwards. Betts. Chris Asher's got a thump from Kurt Sorensen then. You take my place in the front row. Hand over after the 6 tackles. And here is Chris Ashurst. And the first tackle is not the time to give it back.
Great piece of reading of play by Andy Platt, and then the big hit to go with it, forcing an error. They need it. Wigan need to force some errors, and they also need to open up a little bit more. There's no rain at the moment. Conditions pretty good. They really should try to open this up if they want to win the game.
And here they go with Dean Bell. Paul Moriarty there in the on the Widnes bench will really be frustrated after the achievements of his former Welsh international teammates this afternoon. Moriarty, of course, a Swansea man. And here's John Devereux out in the middle. I was watching him working out at Norton Park on Thursday night after that fearful injury which we caught with the Rugby League's live cameras last season. Moriarty, he's got another operation to take the wires out of his leg in September and hopes to be back early December. Still encouraging though. It's a squad effort these days, Rugby League. 5 minutes of the second half gone. Widnes leading by 10 points to 2 and in possession with Les Holliday. Now that might just fall for Martin O'Fire. And watch him go. It's a race between Myers and O'Fire. Myers had a start, but he's quick. As O'Fire knows only too well, his training mate. Gil Fillan trying to run into trouble.
Great marker play by Jonathan Davies there.
You'd bet against this game going the entire 80 minutes without Martin O'Fire making a dramatic contribution, one way or the other.
That's good defence by Widnes. 4 tackles and they've only made 10 metres.
Skerritt trying to double it. That's the 5th. Edwards. Alan Tate. Doug Lawton. Very intense individual. Good break back to Loto. O'Fire's in his left-hand shoulder, and O'Fire is in. There's nobody in rugby league who enjoys scoring tries more. There's nobody in rugby league who scores more tries. And if you had a centre like of the size of a Mosi Kaloto playing with you every week, you really would score a few.
Kaloto's on the boil here. We haven't caught the missed tackle there. He straightens it. I thought he was not going to find O'Fire for a minute. Gilfillan did all that he could, but O'Fire's got much more than just speed. Here we see the end-on shot. Fearsome sight of Kaloto, and that's not a tackle that Bobby Goulding will put in his video scrapbook. Far too high. Kaloto, the big athletic man, perfect timing of the pass, and there's the hungry O'Fire right on the spot.
I think Big Mossy was wondering whether he might just get there himself here. Bit of a mismatch with Bobby Goulding.
Great fend, far too high the tackle, very poor technique.
Now, can I get there myself? No, there's Martin.
Why bother?
It's his 9th try against Wigan, Martin O'Fire. He's only been in the game 3 years. He's chasing all sorts of records again this coming season, bidding to become top try scorer for a 4th consecutive year. He'd be only the 3rd man in the history of the game to do that. Jonathan Davis put a draw on that. That's a bad one then. 14-2, 2 clear scores, Widnes lead.
And 3 delightful tries, really great stuff, some beautiful handling, and then the absolute power and then the speed of O'Fire to finish off that 3rd effort. It'll take something from Wigan to even get back into the game, let alone to win it from here.
Here's big Mosi Kaloto, who made that last one possible. Well, he's hardly been in the game, really, has he? There's Holiday. He and Myler have been so creative in midfield. Clever players. Davis. That's right between Myers and Gilfillan. It's bisected them perfectly. Forced them to face their own line and chase back there. Well, Gilfillan's coughed it up.
Well, you see, I think that was the same as what happened earlier on when Mr. Morris ruled a knock on. If the ball's pulled out by a defending player, there's 6 to go, or a penalty, as we saw then.
Colin Morris, who had charge of that famous or infamous meeting between Widnes and Wigan at Norton Park last season, depending which side you support, and he gave a penalty to Wigan in the last minute from which Bobby Goulding won the game, although in fairness to him, his touch judge on the day, Bill Brown, virtually made the decision on his behalf.
He's one of Fred Lindop's bright new faces and arguably the best referee in the country, one of the best in the world perhaps.
10 minutes of the second half played. Widnes leading by 14 points to 2. With the risk of groans from the Widnes fans watching at home, it's worth remembering the names of Hanley, Gregory, Goodway, Hampson, Iro, Lydon, Clark, Lucas, Dermott, who are not playing today for Wigan. Jonathan Davis, criminally stolen. Oh, watch him go. O'Fire's there if he needs him. He's not going to pass the ball in O'Fire in South Wales. It's Jonathan Davis's day. And it could be a hat-trick of Charity Shields for Widnes. Oh boy, oh. This is just how he dreamt it last night.
That ball was supposed to be Tate's. This is opportunism. He took it full advantage of a ball that just lobbed into his hands when he wasn't even sure. He did well to take it. Myers tries to head a fire off at the pass, but he doesn't need to. He's home. The gate was open. Just an incredible example of the power and speed of Widnes. Really nothing doing there. Perhaps even a try for Wigan if the ball went astray, but all of a sudden they're punished in spades. They got the lot straight down the gun barrel, and it's game, set and match now.
I don't know which try I prefer, the one that we saw in the red of Wales prior to the programme, or the one that we saw there in the white of Widnes during the match. Same idea. It's that same running stride. He always seems to be stretching a little bit. In some ways, it's not a natural sprinter's stride. He's not relaxed when he's running.
Yeah, well, get your skates on and catch this.
I was going to say, you try and catch him.
That's a beautiful shot. A lovely shot. And time to celebrate just a little. He deserves it today. It's his day.
Two more to add to the Davis collection. A few points that he scored in his professional career will mean more than the ones that he's amassed here this afternoon. 20 points to 2 for Widnes, and Doug Lawton sitting on the bench. I think you've written the script for this game beforehand, haven't you, Doug?
I don't think so, but it's going. If he had written a script, this is the way they wanted to go. That was a bit special, wasn't it?
I'm sure it meant a lot to the Welsh boys this afternoon, probably more than they've let on.
Well, Jonathan's like, since he come up, he's been under a lot of pressure because he was a big signing, and coming down here puts him under pressure. But I think today he's come good and made up for the lad.
And Widnes leading by 20 points to 2, 3 clear scores ahead. We've already recorded a hat-trick of premierships this year, and there's a hat-trick of Charity Shields to follow. And luck for the team facing them, might even have been a hat-trick of championships.
Robbie Goulding will be a lot more pleased with that tackle. Read it well and went up very aggressively. Put the pressure on to cause an error. Here's a chance from a scrum. Can they come up with something to get them back in the game?
Well, they come up with the ball. Edwards. Bell. Edwards. Mark Preston. There's nowhere for him to go there. Foreshore.
They can't find a runner, Wigan, at the moment.
And when they find one, he can't hang on.
Well, that's confusion there. No one's sure who's doing what. To be fair to them today, Clive, as you said, they've got some of their big guns out.
Well, these two sides have dominated the game the last 3 years. The major prizes on offer, only Warrington's Lancashire Cup last season and the St Helens John Player 3 seasons ago have slipped through the Norton Park and Central Park nets. The rest has been a Widnes Wigan carve-up. I wonder when a Yorkshire side's going to win a trophy again. They do still play over there, don't they, Brian?
We do indeed, Clive.
It might be an idea to take the Charity Shield over there next year to help the development of the game in Yorkshire.
That's a bit cheeky.
Alan Tate.
I think Leeds and Cass and Bradford and maybe LFC will have something to say about it before the season's out. It's early days yet, Clive.
We'll have that conversation in May. Jonathan Davis's contribution, and look at the biggest number there, tackles. Phil Larder.
Jonathan really came of age on the tour in New Zealand. A lot of people criticise his defensive play. He worked hard on it. He's tackled well today. He's missed no tackles, and he's going to be a superb player.
Covering back as Sean Edwards threatened to make a break. Wigan are going in ones at the moment. And Widnes, who looked very rusty in a training session I saw on Thursday night, have brushed off the rust quite dramatically in the last couple of days. Looking very cohesive. Tony Myler has been central to a lot of it. Joe Grimmer. Sorensen. Widnes have still got Richie Ayres and Paul Moriarty to come back. It's good to see Barry Dowd and Rick Thackeray doing some training on Thursday night. Darren Wright's on the bench today. Myler, Mackenzie. Referee just looking at confirmation from his touch judge that the tackle had been completed. It hadn't. Phil Mackenzie there will become a Briton next month. He's Australian born, but he's lived here for 5 years, and that residential qualification will put him immediately into test contention, ironically against the Australians.
Be interesting to see whether Malcolm really takes the attitude that he is an Englishman, because there's no doubt, I don't think in anybody's mind, that he's certainly a contender for the team.
Brown himself's got a very fine young hooker, Lee Jackson, over at Hull, and of course Martin Dermot, who's not involved today, will be involved, and maybe, I suppose, Paul Hume, who was the Great Britain Test hooker in the early stages of last season. Edwards kick. Alan Tate. Edwards first to him. Here's Davis. Now what's he going to be sleeved this time? David Hume. Kick through by Mackenzie. Courier in support. Dennis Betts did well to get back there. Widnes rampant now. And look capable of punishing every mistake. Widnes are going to make a substitution. Chris Ashurst, who staked his claim this afternoon, will be replaced by Darren Wright. Maybe we'll see Tony Myler go into the pack.
Doesn't look like it, by the way they lined up just quickly there on the tap defence. It looks as if Darren Wright might have gone into the second row.
Kelvin Skerritt. Andy Platt. And Peloto again. Those big hits. Tony Myler. Again, the perfect pass. It was 2 feet in length, but it was release at the right time to the right man.
Subtlety.
And talking of subtlety, here's Kurt Sorensen. Alan Tate. Davis. Goodbye. 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 Hat-trick for Jonathan Davis. The freedom of Swansea has just been bestowed upon a rugby league player. What an advert for the professional game, here in the heartland of the amateur game.
These are the situations that everybody wants to see Jonathan Davis put in against the Australians this season if he makes the tour. Sorensen carving the hole right through the middle. The ball out the back. On to Tate, who finds in this broken field situation, Davis, the footwork in, out off the right foot, reminiscent of the try we saw last season from a scrum, and then the blinding acceleration. He can do it, maybe against Mal Meninga this year. I wonder how he handles the other bit when Meninga's coming with the ball at him.
Well, he'll only get one chance. just dragged that one. It's a difficult goal-kicking day, but his goal-kicking would be a factor too, and he made that Great Britain side.
Seriously, Clive, I think that it's one of the problems and maybe one of the pluses for Malcolm really to sort out. They have got some players, particularly Jonathan Davies, who can cause problems for the Australian outside backs, who are very big and very strong. But whether they can handle them when they're coming at them is the big thing. I mean, all credit to Jonathan today. He's done everything that's asked, plus more. But we haven't had to see him in those tight defensive situations today where he's had to stop defence, stop good attack, and particularly from big players.
Well, with the game apparently beyond Wigan, at 24-2 now to Widnes. John Money is going to take the opportunity to have a look at Frano Botica as a fullback. He's come back on now in place of John Gilfillan. Steve Hampson's very nearly fit. I'll be surprised if he doesn't line up in the #1 shirt next weekend. But having seen Botica at stand-off half, the Wigan coach will now examine his credentials as a fullback. We're live from the Vetch Field, the home of Swansea City Football Club, where rugby league is being played at the highest level between its two best sides, and where the home crowd have been exhilarated by the contribution of one Jonathan Davies. 3 of the 5 Widnes tries. The relationship between the two codes is much better than it was in these parts, but nobody can pretend that professional games ever had much of a foothold in South Wales. There's one amateur team, Aberafan, who play in the South Wales and Central League. The fire was caught late there. Aberafan actually won the Chester Sevens last weekend. Clive Griffith's Welsh student team beat England last year. But I was talking to the man responsible for spreading the word for rugby league, Tom O'Donovan, last week, and his key message is that there is now a free gangway between the codes at junior level. If you play rugby union, you are free to play amateur rugby league, whatever your coach or your club secretary may say. Into the last 18 minutes. Kurt Sorensen driving Widnes ever onwards. Myler. Look at the poise that he has. He didn't manufacture anything then, but he seemed stationary for an age then when he received the ball, just assessing the possibilities. So much composure, awareness. And Mosa Kaloto just filled the ball there. Dean Bell. And again. Marvellous example to the younger Wigan players. The amount that he puts into training sessions and gym sessions, Dean Bell. Edwards. Dennis Betts. Hasn't really had a break since the tour. He was telling me he didn't manage to get away on a holiday, and sometimes you do need just to recharge the batteries. A little tee up from Sorensen to Hume. Holiday at the time. Scarrett's a footballing pop forward. He's always liable to offload the ball there, but Ian Gildup really wasn't alive to that possibility. Myler again. Davis. Surely not another. Kamoto. O'Fire in his usual position, which is anywhere on the field and everywhere on the field. And David Hume, and kept alive beautifully for Alan Tate. Phil McKenzie. Harlem Globetrotter stuff now. They're a treat to watch when they're buzzing. They've got big Seni Faimalo to join them too, early in the season. Doug Lawton's latest acquisition from the Southern Hemisphere, big Kiwi Test Rugby League prop forward, will arrive in October. Skerritt. Platt. Darren Wright very sound on defence. Goulding. Edwards. Goulding. Foreshore. A little encouragement there from the junior member of the Wigan side, but he's allowed the ball to slip forward again. Making another substitution. Les Holliday is leaving the field and Chris Ashurst is returning. 4 substitutions allowed in total by any side in a course of a rugby league game. David Hume penalised that time.
Number of penalties today against the team in possession. Both coaches will be disappointed with that, particularly Doug Lawton. I'm sure he'd be keen to get rid of that element from the Widnes play.
Now a chance here for Wigan to lift themselves. There's some defending for Widnes to do for a change. Bobby Goulding. Almost found Edwards.
Wigan are falling into the trap at the moment of trying to overplay the pass to catch up the points. I guess you can forgive them a little, but it's not adding any continuity to their play, and in the end it lessens their chances.
Carrier. His turn to spill the ball. Shame it's not been a dry day. It's been a good spectacle. I'm not suggesting for one moment that the outcome of the match would have been changed, but we've seen a number of knock-ons today, which I think on a dry day wouldn't have happened.
I don't think anyone will go away disappointed today, apart from Wigan fans, of course, Clive. And almost a full house here today. They got plenty of entertainment. Maybe, as you say, not the classical game because we haven't been able to control the ball just as well as they'd like, but exciting running, particularly from Widnes. Some good grafting early on from Wigan. Some outstanding defence at times.
Well, Myler couldn't hold on that time, and Frano Botica's in for a try. And the All Blacks hit back a little bit. Botica's opportunism underlined, if nothing else. And Tony Myler's first mistake of the afternoon penalised.
David Hume's not very happy about the decision. David Hume's on his way to the sin bin. You see Hume fire the pass out here. There's the example of what Clive's been talking about, this greasy ball. Botica as quick as a flash. That's a try, David Hume. David Hume shoots his mouth off a little there at the referee, and he puts him in the sin bin. And he was way out of order. That's a fair try. Doesn't matter if it's not a fair try, by the way. He's out of order anyway.
There's David Hume, who starts his benefit year with Widnes. And he's going to spend the next 10 minutes of it on the bench, explaining to Vivian Gleave and Colin Tyre and anybody else who listened to him exactly what happened.
Have a look at the replay, David.
He'll make a good referee one day. But not today. Frano Botica improves his own try, and he's registered all the Wigan points today. 24-8. Penalty, a try, and a conversion.
You make up your mind. Was this a fair try? The greasy ball, the quickness of Botica, or the deft touch? Oh, get out of the road, Edwards. We couldn't see.
27 years of age, he signed a 3-year contract with his new employers. So inside the final 9 minutes, and no genuine threat to witness his hold on the Charity Shield. They still have some 16 points in hand.
Seen very little of David Myers today. Saw him beaten a couple of times defensively, but very little of possession in his hands, and certainly not from the sort of situations he'd like. Having to go into acting half there to run with the ball or distribute, as we see again. Maybe an indication that Wigan need to perhaps open up their play on occasions. It's okay to play the percentages, wear the other teams down when you're in front or if the conditions are suiting you. But when you're behind, you've got to come up with a little more. Maybe give guys like Myers a little bit more of a chance with the ball.
Fifth tackle. Edwards finding some space behind John Devereux. Alan Tate across there covering.
Lovely skill, fall on the ball and protect the body down on the left shoulder. No chance of the ball popping out for a knock-on. Good chase by Wigan, and now the contest to get out of their own quarter. Good marker play. And the marker smarter than the acting half. Is the defence stronger than the bullocking Sorensen about to come on the boil here?
Marler taking it on himself. Coming into the final year of his contract with Widnes, Tony Marler, and I think there were one or two inquiries as to his future from other clubs during the summer. I heard the name of Hull mentioned as a possible buyer, but he's staying at Widnes as captain. Here's Botica. Little seed for a forum today. Every point in this match has been scored by a former rugby union player. Here's one who hasn't made his mark on the score sheet, Mark Preston. Skerritt. Bobby Goulding, Sean Edwards, Dean Bell, Andy Platt. Dennis Betts. This is where you find out about players in the last 6 minutes of a game, which is all but lost. Who's still carrying the ball forward with force? Who's still doing the tackling stint? They're the characters, the ones you want alongside you in the trenches. Courier losing it. Ian Gilbert retrieving it.
Andy Courier. Is he lying down trying to figure out where the ball went to? It's not a game Andy will want to remember either, I guess. He's taken a pretty heavy knock there by the look of things.
Getting some treatment from Eddie McDonald. As play continues, as it does in rugby league. Unless it's a serious injury. Sean Edwards.
Great tackle, McKenzie.
Byrne. Skerritt. Good play. Well held on by Forshaw. Chance for David Myers now. Went forward. Or was there some crossing? No, it was a forward pass.
You got it right the first time.
As David Myers is really, we've got to find out about this young man. He's only 19. He's got a marvellous build. He's so powerful. He's quick. The last 2 years have been a bit of a write-off for him, really. There's been problems of his own making. He was a Widnes player, and then he didn't want to be, and then he was a Warrington player, and he didn't want to be. And he's landed on his feet at Central Park. We've got to find out what he's made of now. We're inside the last 5 minutes. Mackenzie. Oh, he's got a kicking game too.
That's his right.
He's got a Scottish wife. Sorry, he's got a Scottish father. His wife's from Rochdale. He's got an English son. He's getting more and more claims to be a bona fide Briton. And if he plays like this against the Australians in the coming months, then he'll be virtually a member of the royal family by the end of the series.
I did a coaching school with Phil Mackenzie a couple of weeks ago, and as he pointed out to me, there's very little more that he can do to prove that he's English.
Lesson 1 in the referee's manual, not a position to get into. Dean Bell. Goulding bouncing up onto his feet, Jack in a box. Gildart. Andy Currier doing his business in his own particular way, holding Gildart. Platt. Edwards was there, so too was Tony Myler.
Look out.
Alan Tate, and here we go. And they've got men over if they choose the right one. Tate's kick for O'Fire. Now it's a straight leg chase between O'Fire and Myers. Myers with a little bit of bravery thrown in, got there.
And a little bit of smartness too. He knew how to keep himself between O'Fire and the ball. It was a very clever bit of play.
Not sure that Alan Tate really needed a kick there.
Jonathan Davies been a bully there. He's bullied poor Jed Byrne backwards.
Well, surprise, surprise, he's been nominated for man of the match. Bobby Goulding's offered 10. 12 tackles, 8 drives, 3 of those breaking a tackle. They're the bust. He hasn't missed a tackle. He'd made a handling error. Dear me, Jonathan, what do you think you're playing at? 3 tries. What a day. Kicked a couple of goals too. He might just kick another here.
Be able to drive the bus home. At least he'll know his way, won't he?
So we're inside the last couple of minutes of this showpiece spectacle for South Wales, which has been dominated by a man who so dominated the Union scene down here. 23 caps in the red jersey. And now 5 for Great Britain. And a day all to himself here at the Vetch Field. Well, he's hit the post twice. Calvin Skerritt was obviously doing something whilst Davis was lining up the kick, which Colin Morris spotted, and Widnes had a free kick. And Skerritt's trying to do something else to Tony Myler. O'Fire.
The reason for the penalty there, Clive, was that Calvin Skerritt was moving about while Jonathan Davis was about to kick. Why on earth would you take a tap in a nearer position after you've just had a shot at goal?
Yeah, there's only scrum offences for which you cannot kick at goal. It's all rather academic now. Skerritt will have better days for Wigan, that's for sure. Huge cheer as the news is confirmed to this large crowd at the Vetch Field. Well, Jonathan Davis is the official man of the match. I think they'd have had the right police on the streets here tonight if he hadn't been named that. Edwards away, under the attention of David Hume. Alan Tate. There's the final hooter. Widnes win the Charity Shield yet again. They win the hearts of some converts in South Wales today. But only one man matters to the locals, the man in the white number 4 shirt. the man who wore the red number 10 shirt with such distinction for so long, is now an unqualified success in the professional code. And if it needed any confirming, 3 tries this afternoon have done just that. What a dream of a day it's been for Jonathan Davis. Don't teach that. You've either got it or you haven't.
Mum and Dad Davis can take.
So Tony Myler, the Widnes captain, walks forward and lifts the Charity Shield. A hat-trick of Charity Shields to go with their hat-trick of premierships. A 9th major trophy in the space of 3 years for Widnes. And 7 of their players, Alan Tate there, Darren Wright, Martin O'Fire, David Hume, Kurt Sorensen, Joe Grimmer and Paul Hume have figured in all 3 of those Charity Shield successes. And guess who the beaten side has been each time? Yes, Wigan, and that makes it all the sweeter. There's Kurt, who had his hands on it first a year ago at Anfield. And there's Jonathan Davis. David Hume, who finished the day in the sin bin. There's a prison just behind this ground, have to be careful. Young Chris Ashurst, Demosi Koloto. And Les Holiday, what a good signing he's going to be. Darren Wright, and some final words from Brian Smith, who's going to be lifting the big ones at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, you'll have to say that these 2 are still favourites to do so. And judging by the way Widnes have gone today, they can certainly do the business still.
Jonathan Davis is now down on the pitch. And we're hoping to grab a word with him, but he's still got the Man of the Match award to collect and a team photo to pose for. That Man of the Match award, the Jack Bentley Award, named after a dear departed rugby league journalist, is worth 250 nicker to him. There are always detractors whenever a major transfer happens in any kind of sport, and there were a lot of people who wondered about Jonathan Davis in his early days. Would he be big enough? Would he be able to adapt? Well, I think we've had that question answered a number of times in the last couple of months, firstly in Papua New Guinea and then in New Zealand, and now here gloriously for the Charity Shield at the Vetch Field in Swansea. Just half an hour's drive from where he came into the world.
Very nice that he wanted to share it with his fans in Wales too, and wanted to be part of the team. I think he's shown a lot of humility since he's come into the game and made him a real top personality as well as a top player.
The Rugby League came to Wales today, and the Prince of Wales won the Charity Shield.